Hello, everyone. Welcome to the co-lead AGM report that we put together. I'm Paul McElwraith, the pastoral co-lead at North Park, and
I'm Wanda Sylvester, the executive co-lead.
And we were just talking, like the time that we have right now, this is kind of history making because, as you know, the past year, 2022, we transitioned into this new model at North Park anyway, and it was the model of co-leads. And we went throughout the year and we did some research. We talked to some other churches. We kind of observed what was going on in places in Canada and the US, and we got excited about this co-lead model and what it could look like and the ways that we could actually play off of each other's strengths and experiences. And we think it's done okay for us.
It's working.
It's working. So what are some of the things that's working? The whole leadership and stability, what do you think that does for us?
Yeah, well, and I think our situation is a little unique. It's not like a lot of other churches who are doing co-lead models. And that's to do with our specific skills and strengths. So that's unique and fun to us. But it also creates a bit of continuity and stability in leadership when transition comes, and we are learning, if we haven't already known, that transition is inevitable and it's going to happen at some point or another. So we just found this model was that great continuity and stability that we're looking for. So be sure to check out the elder video that Dennis and Karen recorded. It will talk about how the elders kind of landed on this model as our way forward. And then our video today is going to talk about how it works and why we think it works, just so that you have a bit of a sense of what we're doing.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute. So we know that our model is a little unique because in other churches we've seen, they have two co-leads and both of them maybe speak and do other things. But for us, we've really tried to leverage
ours is not like that.
Our gifts and our strengths. So most of my job description would involve things like preaching and teaching, whereas you're mostly about
budget, finances, HR, more internal.
Which doesn't turn my crank too much, but that's the beauty of it. Because I know that Wanda is really passionate and also so gifted at it that she runs with that element, the important element of the church, make sure that I'm informed with it, and then she knows that she doesn't have to get up and preach on Sundays, which is maybe a bit
fantastic,
of a bit of a relief for you. So let's talk a little bit more of how we can play off of each other's strengths and how we did that throughout the year.
Yeah, I think it's imperative. We've been very careful to make sure that we have regular meetings with each other, just to make sure we know, even though it's not maybe each of our areas of strength, we want to know what's happening in the other areas. So that's important. It gives us just an opportunity to kind of shoulder the weight of leadership together rather than feeling that it all lands on one person. So it's a great
and I think we found that rhythm. There was a time when we started this that we just kind of, throughout the day we'd pop into each other's office and just say what's going on, how can we help each other. But we kind of transitioned into actually, like every Friday, we sit down and we go through a whole list of things that involve leadership of the staff team, involve activities and ministries in the church, and that shouldering the weight I've found has really been beneficial for this because
I agree.
I can get your opinion, you can get mine, we can help each other lead out in some of the areas that we're doing. So it's that alternate perspective, and we get along pretty good most of the time. And I think, but that is important in the co-lead model.
Absolutely,
it's
imperative.
That, we're different, but still we trust and respect each other.
Yes.
And we get along a little bit.
But being different is good. That's how we're sure we get all not the right perspectives. We get alternate perspectives.
And I think added to that is also accountability, right? Mm-hmm. So, in a single lead pastor paradigm, I think sometimes all the pressure gets put on that one person, and they can run off with things. Hopefully they're running off in the right direction, but in this we do have accountability built in. And I know that there have been meetings where I've maybe been a little grumpy or whatever, and Wanda's had to say to me, Paul, you got to pay attention. And there's times when
it goes both ways. I would say yes, we've both been called out, but
I think that's such a strength.
That's important. And I think along with that accountability comes the idea of challenging each other to just be aware of those times where we maybe don't react the way that we could. And just calling each other to grow in that and improve. And so that's easier coming from someone who is on the same level as you, rather than someone who either reports to you or whatever. It's this I don't know, iron sharpening iron.
So we found, quote the Bible. So we've found some real strength in this new model, this co-lead model, utilizing each other's strengths, the accountability, the support, brainstorming solutions to things. But ultimately, our passion and our job is overseeing the dedicated team that we have, the wonderful team that we have.
Absolutely.
And that's where we put a lot of our energy, just in training, developing, and cheerleading our staff team to continue with the mission and the vision that God has given North Park, and the strategic initiatives. Because every year we sit down with the elders and we intentionally pray about and talk about what are some of the strategic goals that we want to achieve. And we did that last year, but maybe you can explain a little bit about like the difference between the operational and the governance model that we have here.
Yeah, and that is exactly how it works, is we, together with the elders, prepare kind of the strategic goals. And so the elders are all about the, what North Park is going to do. The operational side and the co-leadership model, we're about how do we make that happen? So how do we use the resources that we have been given here at the church to accomplish those goals that the elders have set and the mission and vision of the church? So it's just making it happen. And we've worked really hard at that this year. And even along with the strategic goals, in order to accomplish those, we have to have a really healthy staff, which we did talk about already. But
and I should point out, remember, last May we looked at some of our strategic goals, and a couple of the key ones were community and discipleship. And we want to encourage you, have a look at the SLT video for this AGM, because we, along with Trish and Matt, we go on and on and on about a lot of the great community and discipleship things that went on at North Park in 2022. So, but we've also, as you were saying a minute ago, we've also really taken time to kind of get stability and really encourage and support our staff team this year. And we did a bunch of surveys that help with staff health. We looked at encouraging people on practical things in staff meetings on how they carry out ministry, especially in a post-COVID world. But talk a little bit about how we came up with 4 values for our staff team.
Yeah, we really made an effort to care for the staff through the rockiness of the pandemic, and holistically care for them, not just what they could do for us here in ministry, but how they were doing spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and their families, exactly. So one of those exercises was to kind of throw a bunch of values on a board and almost vote on them and try to get a sense of where everybody was leaning. And we came up with 4 key staff values. They are stronger together, worthy of trust, pursuing quality, and good communication. And so we've tried to run our staff meetings through that lens and make sure that we are abiding by those values as we proceed to figure out the how of how we're gonna do ministry.
And again, as we said, the significance of a staff team that's united, that's excited about what they do, that allows us to go out and do the ministry that God's provided us here, and to call volunteers into a healthy environment, so that we can make a max impact for the gospel in the community and the areas that God has called us. So that's been exciting. So that's kind of what we've been working on 2022, establishing this co-lead model, really moving forward with that in terms of overseeing our staff team and carrying on our strategic goals. But now we're moving to the future. So maybe we need to say something about the future, because people get old and they maybe retire. And the beauty of the co-lead model is, even as you know, with me stepping away in April 2023, in just a couple of months, Wanda's still here as the co-lead, the executive co-lead. See the continuity, the strength in that? So Wanda's not going anywhere initially with that, But the person that we're looking for with the search team, they're going to be a person that complements Wanda's strengths and her gifts. And again, that's just going to give us the max leadership in the days ahead. So, Wanda, as we prepare kind of to move to the future, give the last words. I'll let you have the last words.
Yikes, this is a moment.
I
If
know.
you're giving me
This
the
is
last word. But
history.
yeah, well, because Paul's going to retire, so he has to learn to give away the last word. But yeah, I guess as we look to the end of April, where we're ready to kind of honor Paul and his retirement from full-time ministry here at North Park, I'm looking forward to a new pastoral co-lead coming on, someone who I can come alongside and partner with to continue to work towards, the mission and vision and values of North Park that we all have and will continue to hold dear. That is where we're headed, and that is our focus, and that's not going to change. I hope you are all excitedly anticipating this next season, just like I am. So thanks for sticking with us.